So it's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. Just wanted to jump on today because we had a bit of news earlier on with a player that, ironically enough, I just happened to be looking at over the last couple of days. As we know, Villa have had some defensive faux pas this season. You know, our defense hasn't been as rock solid this season, or arguably to a point, the whole lot of 2024 as well. And I felt that potentially we would look to maybe delve into the defensive market just to see, I suppose, what was there. And this guy was somebody I was looking at. And the reason I was looking at him will become apparent in a moment. His name is Enzo Boyomo. He is currently playing for Osasuna. And supposed to give you a background to this guy, born in Toulouse. He's a Cameroonian international. He's two caps for Cameroon. But this guy originally was in the Toulouse Academy. And at the age of 16, he transferred to Blackburn. He went into the Blackburn Rovers Academy and he stayed at Blackburn from 2008. So he transferred on the 1st of July 2016 and he stayed there and he transferred out of the Blackburn Academy on the 1st of August 2021. And from there, he went to Albacete to try his luck in Spanish, in Spanish Segunda Division. And he immediately made a name for himself because he stayed with Albacete for just about a year, where just about 3 years, should I say, on 2020, August 1st, 2020, he signed for Albacete. And then on July the 7th, 2023, he signed from Albacete to Valladolid for 2.6 million. And then he only stayed there for a year, August the 29th, 2024, and moved from Valladolid to Osasuna. So Osasuna snapped him up pretty quickly after he moved to Valladolid. And he'd been playing the majority of the games he played for Valladolid were in the Segunda Division. Now, what I want to do is have a chat a small little bit about him because there isn't an awful lot on the internet about him at all. As you guys know, I have a Y Scout account, and something I have been working towards previously is doing scouting degrees, if you want to call them, courses and stuff like that, both in the English football game and in the American football game. So due to that, I was able to watch a lot of his stuff on Y Scout and to get a small bit of a feel of him. Now, I didn't watch as much as I normally would like to watch for players, because usually my rule is I'll watch the cut-up highlights of them initially of 5 games and form an initial opinion. Then I'll watch 3 full games of them after that, because obviously the cut-up highlights in Y Scout do show the negatives as well as the positives. So it's not like a YouTube cut-up where you just see him score, see like defenders scoring worldies all over the place. It's not like that. But with somebody like this, I wanted to take a look at them. And the games that I watched in particular were, he played initially after his first game that he moved from Valladolid to Osasuna. He scored in, and that was against Celta Vigo. And I watched that. That was back on just looking at my notes here, on the 1st of September. And I watched him when the next game, actually, ironically enough, that I watched him for was against Mallorca. And the reason I wanted to watch him in that game, that was on the 10th of February. The reason I wanted to watch him in that game was because Vedran Mariki plays up top for them. Big, strong, burly striker. And from Kosovo, I think he is, if I remember, Villa were linked with him previously. Big, massive, strong guy who's going to push defenders around the place. I wanted to see how this guy got on against that type of defender. And the reasons, I'll explain that in a moment, is because this guy, since he's had a miraculous or a massive rise from Segunda Division into La Liga, and people are liking what they see from him. And there's a lot of things to like when you look at him. I watched cut-ups of a game from Valladolid. Can't remember who they played in the Segunda Division, because the reason for that is when I looked at any of the stuff, when I look, obviously the internet is available to anybody. You can go and you can read somebody else's scouting reports, and then you can obviously go and form your own opinion. So I was lucky in this instance. I've been watching this guy, along with David Garcia, who used to play with him. I watched, with David Garcia, who used to play with Osasuna, should I say. I've been watching him before, but that was apropos of nothing. But I just happened to watch this guy last night. And the reason I did was because I saw a tweet from somebody that was talking about this guy had been excelling throughout the course of this season, specifically in ground duels. Just happened to stumble across it, said, try on some of his stuff. And I liked what I saw. I liked a lot of areas that I saw from him. And then I went looking then, and I saw that at the start of the season, Osasuna were playing a 2 at the back, then they moved to a 3 at the back. It's a funny one. You look at FootMob, you look at other places like that as well. Some places will say he's left-footed, some places will say he's right-footed. What I've seen from him, he's a right-footed player. Okay, I've seen him. I've watched clips of him. He's predominantly right-footed. I've seen him swing his left-legged at all right. I couldn't tell you whether, to me, he's a right-footed player for sure. He has played on the left side of the fence as well. That's one thing to be cognizant of. In the latter games that he's played, probably since the turn of the year, I think I can't remember the exact date. It might even go back as far as maybe November of last year. Osasuna have been playing kind of a 3 at the back, and he's played as the right sided in that 3. Now he has played in the 2 as well, so don't want anybody freaking out over that. This guy has really, really good athleticism and brilliant work rate on the field. If you guys go and watch that game against Mallorca, go and watch the highlights. I think the highlights are actually on YouTube, because I was talking to my dad about him earlier on today, and I said to him, go look for stuff on YouTube, and I think he found that. So you go watch that, the highlights of that. You'll see that Vedran Mariki, albeit he is not a speedster striker, he has a run on their whole backline, and Boyomo comes out of nowhere and has what can I be described as Nezri Konsa-esque tackle as he's about to shoot, and knocks the ball away from him, gets it away from him with his right foot. Really, really good one to watch. That game's a really good game to watch actually for him to see, because they're under pressure a bit from that big striker. He does end up getting a penalty, Mariki does, in that game, but Boyomo actually scores the equalizing goal. So it's a nice game for you to watch. So go and watch that, or even watch the highlights of it on YouTube. So where do I start with this guy as well? So he's an incomplete evaluation, and he's an incomplete. He will be an incomplete evaluation. Anybody that you watch on the internet that doesn't watch Valladolid and Osasuna regularly will have an incomplete evaluation on this guy. So sorry if you're coming here for a complete evaluation. I don't have one, and it'd be a lie for me to say that I did. And the reason for that is because you move from Albacete to Valladolid, then you move from Valladolid to Osasuna, and you're playing in different makeups. And the reason I say that is go back and you look at his statistics. We're going to look at some statistics from him in a moment, but I want to set the scene. His statistics in the Segunda League when he was playing for Valladolid his passing statistics were way better for Valladolid. They were actually quite impressive. So if I was to do this last year on this guy, saying, oh, this guy has all the traits in the world that he could progress throughout here and move forward. Then he moves into a different system. That system doesn't really favor him, or doesn't really want him to be that ball playing centre half, because they play with a 3. They've been playing with a 3 at the back. Okay, so there's a lot of context to be taken in that when you look up at this guy. That's why I'm saying it's an incomplete evaluation. There's a lot of projection with this guy, I think, because of the rapid rise. And that's good. That's not a bad thing. The same thing happened with Ezri Konsa. When we signed Ezri Konsa, a lot of projection into what he could become. When we signed John McGinn from Hibs, and I know these were signings that happened a long time ago, there's a lot of projection into what he can become. Morgan Rogers, a lot of projection into what he can become. So when these guys are scouting these players, they're looking at them, they're looking for traits, they're not looking for absolutes, specifically in a 23-year-old. They're looking for traits, they're not looking for absolutes. Like, this guy comes into our defensive room, he's the youngest player in our defensive room comfortably at 23 years of age. So we have a middle to aging defensive room, and we need to get younger reinforcements in there. And this guy, for my money, has some really, really top attributes. Number one attribute, actually, let me bring up my screen here, and we will go take a look at him. So First, what I want to do here is, and apologies, I haven't added Tyrone Mings here. I still have Diego Carlos because I haven't really gotten into scouting mode yet for my graphics and stuff. So bear with me. Boyomo, when you look at since he moved to Osasuna specifically, he's become a tackling machine. Everything that he has been asked to do at Osasuna has been seek and destroy. It's been use your athleticism, use your pace, use your power, use your just your workman-like mentality that he has to get around that pitch and to seek and destroy. And you can see that in his heat map. Look at his heat map. I said he's played left side of defense. He's played right side of defense. He absolutely has. I think that's I think that's going to be a huge thing that I think it's a huge thing that Unai Emery is going to want to covet is versatility. As we know, that is the case with him. He does like versatility. One of the big things you'll see here is that his tackling ability is brilliant. Like, you watch some clips of him. If a dribbler is coming towards him, if there's one-on-one defending to be done, this guy is really good at it. Really, really good at one-on-one defending. He's a pure defender. You kind of just have to go and look at him. You know, there's that instance I told you about there where he tracks back and makes that brilliant tackle in Vedran Mariki. And when it says, again, as I say, Vedran Mariki is a beanpole striker. He's not exactly lightning fast, but he had a run on everybody and he gets back, makes his really good tackle. He's very good at tackling, is what I would say. And I would go so far as to say that this year we've had players who've been afraid to tackle. We've had players who've been more interested in jockeying players and less interested in tackling players. Or maybe backing off players. Like Pau Torres, I've said recently in the last couple of weeks, has second-guessed himself, probably due to his injury, with regards to how good he is at tackling. He's not the strongest player in the world. He's not the most mobile player in the world, but he's a decent tackler of the ball when it's on the ground. A brilliant passer of the ball. This guy's really good. Really, really good at tackling. And the numbers match what you see on tape is essentially what I'm saying here. So when you watch this guy, the numbers, the amount of tackles, the velocity of his tackles, the critical tackles that he makes show up on tape. And I want that in a defender. I want that in somebody that we have currently at the moment, because we've got some big, strong boys inside there. And that's, you know, that to me it's fine. It'll take you to a point. But the bigger thing for me is that I want somebody who's able to defend that's a bit younger. I know he's 6 foot. A couple of people will probably look at that and go, "Ooh, that's a bit small for a defender." Ezri Konsa is 6 foot. Doesn't really affect him. I'd like him a bit taller. Obviously, I'd like him a bit taller. I can't do anything about that. I can't project him to grow 3 inches in the next 6 months. But what I can project him to do is get better at certain things. Or what Unai Emery and the staff can do is project him to get better at things within the next 6 months to a year as he grows. Maybe under Emmings. Maybe this is a signing that comes in here. I would be surprised if we sign Axel Disasi. Maybe this guy is signed instead of him. Maybe a similar price point. They want to go younger. They get this guy in here. He's able to play across that back line in both those centre half positions, and it alleviates an issue for Unai Emery. This guy can learn under people that are there already, and because he's 23 years of age, he can step into maybe the breach of a Tyrone Mings. Maybe he steps into and still work behind an Ezri Konsa there. This guy has a similar tackle rate and athleticism to Ezri Konsa, which I think we can all agree is a pretty athletic footballer. Now, let's come to a couple of things here. What we can see here is pass attempts, completion attempts. Completion attempts isn't too bad, 87.6. The difference between 55th percentile and 99th percentile there is probably about 2 to 3% in pass completion rate. Once you're anything over 85% pass completion rate for a defender, I think I'm pretty okay at that. This guy here as well is really good for Osasuna and even for Valladolid, because I looked at the statistics both ways. And I'm going to show you something in a moment with regards to that. He's a very, very decent passer of the ball. When he is, where's that gone to now? He's a very decent passer of the ball when it's in the short to intermediate level. He can zip a ball into a central midfielder, no problem. Like he can hit your Tielemans with a pinpoint pass at a 10-yard level. And I know everybody goes, "Oh, sure, professional footballer should be able to hit a central midfielder with a 10-yard pass." It's not the fact that he can get it to him and get it to him accurately. It's the weight of pass. It's the speed of seeing it. It's the not the labored way of actually making that pass. He's athletic enough that he can dig that ball out with very little backlift, to get that pass there quickly and move the play forward. He's pretty decent in the intermediate levels. When he starts to go longer, that's where his accuracy starts to wane. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I don't need all my centre halves to be able to hit howitzers onto Ollie Watkins' head or onto Rashford's head or onto whichever one of my strikers. I'd actually prefer if they didn't. So I'm okay with the short to intermediate level passing. This guy is pretty good at it. Since he's moved from Osasuna to from Valladolid to Osasuna, you can see there his passing statistics there at the bottom. It's not bad. They look bad, but they're not that bad. They're affected by the amount of touches that he has playing in a back three. He is the seek and destroy in that back three. He's not the person who gets that ball 70, 80 times and is the ball dominant defender. And that's what happens when you play in a back three. So that's going to affect the amount of touches that he has. There in turn affects the amount of pass attempts he has, and so on. So realistically, what I'm looking at this guy here is progressive passes, fine by me. Pass completion rate, fine by me. And the progressive passes is a number, it's not a percentage, and therefore that's going to be down because his number of pass attempts is down because he's not the ball dominant ball hog centre half that they have in that tree. And therefore then that affects the progressive pass distance and so on and so on. So the amount of pass attempts here for me being low will dictate a lot of those statistics. Now, want to take a look at something here. So I was looking at an article from Juan Fernandez Valencia at Scout La Liga on breaking the lines. And let me just pull this up because I want to share with you guys something here. Oh, I need to remove that and add this one. Oh no. Let me try and make that a small bit bigger for you guys so that you can see. Oh, jeepers. Wouldn't you know? Everything is going wrong for me here. Here we go. And now, what I wanted to show you this here. In the Segunda division, for centre halves, we can see in a team where he was trusted with the ball an awful lot more, his pass statistics were pretty decent. All right, these are the percentiles that he hit. So if we're looking at the last page that was showing there, his percentiles were in the 30s, the 20s, or whatever. Yes, the strength of opposition is lower in the Segunda division. What I'm showing you here is that with workload, his output improves. So to say that he's not a ball dominant or that he's not a ball playing centre half would not be correct. That's what I would say here. Move myself off the stage there. So I don't want to dwell too much on this. I just want to give a small bit of an insight. As I say, he's an incomplete evaluation. There's another little thing there as well that I wanted to bring up. He's not great in the air, but then again, he hasn't been asked to do an awful lot of aerial work in a back three for Osasuna. So saying that as well, he wasn't great in the air for Valladolid. So for me, the one thing that he doesn't have and that he will need to get better at is stronger under the ball. As a 6-foot centre half, how much more stronger under the ball in an aerial situation can he be? I don't know. But let's remember as well, he hasn't been tasked with going for the ball an awful lot in the air. He's been asked to stay on the ground, and he's been asked to be the seek and destroy missile to try and get the ball, ground duels, tackles, winning the ball recoveries, everything like that because of his athleticism. That's what he's been asked to do at both Valladolid and at Osasuna, and he's done it brilliantly. Can he get his aerial statistics up? I don't know. I can't project that into the future because I haven't seen him. Number one, I haven't seen him display it. Display it on the small tape that I've seen. And once again, as I said, this is an incomplete evaluation. And if he signs, I'll have watched more because I'm going to watch more of him now. And historically, you would say here that he hasn't been somebody that's favoured the aerial game, but is an absolute dinger in the ground game. So I don't know is the answer on that one. Overall, can he fit into Aston Villa's setup? He absolutely can. We're looking at a guy here, as I said before. I'll bring this back up on the stage. We're looking at a guy here that can play left centre half, right centre half. He's very, very good on the ground. He's a tackler, which we've given out that we probably have been missing at times this year. And he's somebody that's really athletic that can get around the field. That's something else we've given out about. Do we want to go back to playing that really ultra high line that we played last year and the year before? Well, this guy has pace to burn. Do we want to go to playing a back three? I still hold out an irrational thought that Unai Emery hasn't given up in the back three yet. I can hear the shudder of people already, because when we've tried it previously, it has not worked. Personnel dictates positionality, I think, as well. But obviously, I'm not praying for it. I don't care whether he does play a three or plays a two, plays a three at the back or four at the back. This guy, to me, looks like an athlete. He's a really good athlete. He's a really good defender of the ball. And previously in the Spanish second division, he has been a lot more ball dominant and a lot better with the ball at his feet than he's been asked to do for Osasuna. Don't let the statistics fool you with regards to what you see in the statistics. It does tell a story about what he did at Osasuna. It's a 1 year sample set in a team where he's played in a back three at times, and also he hasn't been the ball dominant centre half. Can he improve his passing? He absolutely can. The one area I say that I do agree with what the numbers show is his aerial duel percentage is 40%. It is quite low. I think everybody can agree on that. But then again, he has the amount of aerial duels that he does go for is lower as well in comparison. So context is key with regards to those. That's about it. That's what I have on him at the moment. For me, he would be a bit of a project player, but a project player that could learn. He's shown the propensity to learn quickly everywhere he's been. He knows England. He knows English football from his time in Blackburn Rovers, and he gives us that athleticism that I think we want to see coming in here. That youthful athleticism that we're beginning to lack as our backline gets older. We're beginning to see it is deficient in our backline. You know, all you have to do is look at the goals we conceded against Liverpool. Look at the goals that we've conceded against Wolves in the past. Look at the goals that we conceded against Aine for Nottingham Forest. Goals whereby people can just take a run at us from inside their own half on a breakaway and go wide and then affect us that way. We've got no answer for it. Potentially, if Unai Emery is looking for something like that, somebody to come in and athletic freak to come in and to stop that, or maybe he wants to train this guy up to be an Ezri Konsa clone, play right back and play right centre half as well. I don't know. This guy does have athleticism. He's shown a propensity to grow year on year. And whether this comes true or not, I don't know. I do have a couple of more slides here just before I finish up, just to surmise a couple of things. So his strengths are he's elite one-on-one defense. Like, genuinely, I think he's brilliant at defending one-on-one. When somebody's coming at him, or when he has to hunt somebody down and be a spy almost in that back three, when he's given a role to go right, if this guy cuts in, you're the go and get guy, and he goes and he gets. He's really, really good at it. His work rate is brilliant. Like, I'm telling you, look at that game and look at the saving tackle. I know it's only one game and one tackle, but that is symptomatic of what you see of him when he gets around the field, that pace, that power, that precision that he has when he's tackling, because his tackling ability is great. Weaknesses, long passing accuracy, but then again, only like Pau Torres would be in the elite category of that for me. And you know, like there's we haven't been great. We haven't had great long passers of the ball. Mings would be a decent long passer of the ball. Maybe he's not coming here to do that. I don't need all my centre halves to do it. And then he's not been tasked with winning aerially in this back three either. I don't know whether he can get better at it, and that's okay to say. But you know, it's better scouts than me will do better projections on that. You can be damn sure of it. With regards to his defensive ability, I've given it a 70 out of 100. These are just little scores that I started doing last year. 70 out of 100. Reason for that is, you know, you have to take into account the aerial vulnerability. If he's unable to improve that, you know, that might be something with diagonal balls that may affect us. His attacking ability, he scored a couple of goals this year. When you see, like, he's good with his feet. You see once he scored against Mallorca, ball comes across, he actually goes with his left foot and takes the shot with his left foot, comes back off the goalkeeper, and then he neatly just shifts it past the goalkeeper with his right foot with a little flick. It's a dainty little goal is what I'll call it, because it's in the box and there's chaos going around him. System fit, I think I give him a 65, and the reason for that is because I don't know whether he will be a central defender or whether he would be an Ezri Konsa clone. You'd have to think he's a central defender, and the only reason I gave him a system fit here is as a 65 is simply because he's going to be understudy to Ezri Konsa if that is the case for a while. So that's not to say that he can't fit into our system. It means that he doesn't fit into our system on day one. And I gave the transfer probability a possibility of 75. Reputable sources come through with it, Matt Law, and it's Spain. It's Spain, and we know that Monchi is all over the Spanish market currently, as is Unai Emery. So let's see if this one does come true. Where else are we here? So I'm just going to come to some of your comments. Rachel says scouting series are back. Yeah, back a lot quicker than I wanted them to be, I'll be honest with you as well. Curry says 6 foot centre back in the Premier League. We are bad at set piece defending already, and to displace Konsa, just because he's 6 foot doesn't mean that he can't defend, but I do share the same concerns. Stephen asks, is he a right back? He has not played right back. He has not. So for me to say, is he projection to right back, it would be very much so a projection would be to right back. Yeah, based on that. Bladnator. Yeah, you saw a young fella playing for Yamal. No, never make it, that fella. Yamal will never make it. I'm telling you, he definitely won't. Lewis, great stuff. Been waiting for these videos to return. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. As well. Where else are we? Anyway, I see someone moving by the window. That's not somebody moving by the window. That's Bladnator says, anyone see someone moving by the window? That's a flag I have here. I'm using one of the 40th anniversary of European Championship flags as a curtain here in my office, and that's what's moving there as well. Right, I'm going to leave it at that, guys. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching and for listening. Hopefully, we will be back with more of these scouting series. I could do it another week or two without them coming up. I still have to do one on the Norwegian kid as well. I will get there. I will actually be back later on tonight with Paddy and with potentially with Jay as well to do a preview of the Fulham game. So join us for that at about 9:30 tonight. Hope you enjoyed this. We will chat to you later on. Stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the